All right, Sydney Brown back again. So in other videos, we've talked about, the tell-all memoir and why you should do it and why you shouldn't do it. And now we're going to talk about, let's say you're doing it, and let's give you the top 10 tips of writing a successful memoir. Now, number one, the first thing that you really need to do is establish your purpose. Understand why you want to write this memoir in the first place. What's your why? And what is your message? What do you hope to convey to your readers? What is their benefit? What do you want to help them with? If it's entertainment, that's fine. If it's something else, that's fine as well. Just make sure you know your whys. Number two, be honest. Now, I know this is a tell-all, but it's so important that you're honest, because when you're honest, when you're authentic, when you're vulnerable with your writing, your reader is going to pick up on your vibe and they're going to connect with you. If you're faking it, if you're just writing for the sake of, trying to be dramatic or something, or adding all the flair, don't be real. They really do want to. Now, they don't want you to sound like you can't put a sentence together necessarily, but they do want to know your real voice. So be honest, embrace who you are. If you are plain spoken, if you do have, a bit of a flair in the way you talk, it doesn't matter, just be who you are. Number three, this is one of my big ones, and if you follow me at all, you know this. Create an outline. I know that there are, planners and there's pantsers, and pantsers fly by the seat of their pants. I get it. People may think that it's more fun, or it's more natural to not have that outline. But I promise you, when you're going from this part of your story to this part of your story, there's so much in between that if you pants that and you don't outline it, then you're gonna miss some great things that should be in the middle. So create that outline, plan your structure, and make sure that it's coherent and that it tells the story, the journey that you took, because that journey is what, that's where the heart is. That's where the prize is. Number four, and you hear me say this, everyone says this, it's not just me, but show, don't tell. And I feel fairly certain that you've already heard this, but if you haven't, what that means is use vivid details, describe the feelings, the senses, the sights, the sounds. Explain that with words so your reader feels it as they journey with you. Number five, develop your voice. Now, what I mean by that is, find your own unique and engaging way of writing. It's your own style. It is your own flair, and it's your personality. I talk, and I recommend other, that you do this too. Talk or type like you talk. And so I am very casual in my writing. So when I'm saying something, I'll be like, especially in my nonfiction, I will, LOL occasionally, and that's not proper grammar, but I want my readers to understand that I'm on the other side of that book, encouraging them and laughing with them, and showing them that they can do this. And I want them to feel that encouragement and feel that emotion that I have. And after people have read your books, they'll know, oh yeah, this is that person's style. I can totally tell. And it's kind of funny because you're not necessarily going to be the only person in the world with a very similar style, but it will be unique to you. So I've had people, when they're talking about in book clubs and stuff, they're talking about, this person writes in the style of this person. I really like them now too. So sometimes if you write in someone else's who's a very good writer and well known, if you write in their style, a similar style, you may end up having different people vibe with you who vibed with that person. I'm not saying steal their style, but we all have our individual style, and you need to figure out what yours is. Now, number 6, be mindful of others. And obviously, going back, this is a tell-all that we're talking about. So consider their feelings, consider consequences, the relationship. Consider all of these things as you plan out your story. Be mindful that you could hurt other people. Now, you may not care, and that's fine. I have to believe that if somebody writes a story that hurts someone else and they know that it's going to hurt them, they probably have been hurt by that person. So I'm not saying that it's your job to protect their poor little feelings after they were so cruel to you, but I do want to caution you that there may be other consequences like legal. So just be cautious to protect yourself so that in doing a tell-all, you don't accidentally give them the power to hurt you again. Number 7, seek feedback. Now, when you're doing this, when I say seek feedback, I mean in the process of the story. Talk to only 1 or 2 very close friends, writing partners, or something like that. When you're first putting together your outline and your storyline, to make sure it's intriguing enough, make sure that it makes sense, make sure that it has the components that it should have. And then as you write, then you can maybe share it with somebody. It could be that same person again, but at some point at the end of it being done, you'll obviously want to have a couple of readers who will read the whole story in its finished form. And then that's what they call beta reading. And, really, you don't want a lot of people giving their opinions throughout it. So very limited to just 1 or 2 people, and only a couple times through the whole process. At the end, obviously, but in the very beginning, you need someone who knows enough about, 1, they are readers, and 2, you want someone who ideally knows how to put together a story. Number 8, edit ruthlessly. When you write, I need you to understand you will fall in love with what you've written, or you'll hate it. There's these emotions that are coming from you onto the page. And as you do this, you need to make sure that you don't get too emotionally tied into them. So put all the emotions into it as you put it onto the page. But then when it's time to edit, you put a different hat on and you act like you are an editor. You don't know who is in that story, but you're gonna just edit ruthlessly. You're gonna make sure that it makes sense. You're gonna make sure that it's in the logical order, that it has good engagement, that the pacing and all of the different things, it all makes sense, and it ends up in a really great format for you. If you do that without the emotion or editing ruthlessly, then you're going to end up with a much, much better book than you would have otherwise. So take those emotions away when it comes time to edit. You want the emotions just oozing out of you as you draft, but take them away when it's time to edit. Number 9, research the market. So understand that, memoirs, there's certain, target audiences of people who like memoirs. That's kind of what they go for. Understand them, get to know your demographic. And then if you're a specific type of memoir, you really want to get to know that niched down demographic. So get to know them, get to know what the reader expectations are, and look for another video about reader expectations. I've got one of those. But just make sure that you know what your target audience is and what they're looking for, and then study some other successful memoirs in that same genre or subgenre, and kind of, make sure that yours falls in line. I'm not saying to copy it. I'm not saying even maybe slightly model it, but mostly your readers will have expectations, and you are expected as the writer to meet the reader's expectations. So, I mean, it's a job. This is a job, and I know you can do it. You just have to spend a little bit of time digging in here, watching the videos, and you'll get there. All right, so number 10, stay persistent. This can be a very emotional roller coaster. It really can, especially in the earlier days, weeks, months, as you're going through all of the memories and the reflecting, talking to people you haven't talked to in years, asking them, their opinions, making sure you can include them in the book, different things like that. You're going to go through a lot of emotions. You may want to put this down, and I urge you not to. If you need to walk away from it for a little while, set it on your alarm. Come back to it once a week, and don't let yourself give up on this, because you do need to tell your story. You do, because you wouldn't be watching this otherwise, right? So you need to tell your story. Don't let when it gets tough make you put it away. All right, don't walk away, stay persistent. All right, so guys, what we've done in the course of the few sections here, we've talked about, what a tell-all is. We've talked about, why you should do a tell-all, why maybe you shouldn't do a tell-all, and then just some, top 10 tips of how to, generally speaking, do the best tell-all you can. So there's a lot more to learn. This is literally just, scratching the surface. Make sure you subscribe and find a lot of other things. I have entire courses on how to write a memoir. There's one course that it's about 14 hours long. Obviously you can take it in little bite-sized sections, but there's really a lot to learning how to do your memoir and do it well. I invite you to follow, and I look forward to getting to know you and learning your story. I please challenge you to not give up, stay persistent. Your story matters. Your story does matter, and it needs to be told. Someone is out there right now already waiting for your story. So I dare you. I double dare you. Let's do this.